The catastrophe was overwhelming. Unless you knew someone actually involved, it was almost abstract, something you couldn't relate to, a kind of open-ended dread, and it brought this country to a complete halt. Like most Americans, racing drivers remember 9/11, where they were, what they were thinking.
Well, I remember it vividly. I had taken my daughter to school, and my wife and I had a meeting back at the house.
I was actually testing at a short track in South Carolina.
I was just about ready to get in the car to go to the airport, and then I got a call that, turn on the TV, and it's like, what in the world?
Katie and I were actually camping up at our property we had in Wisconsin. We didn't have phone, we didn't have anything up there.
I remember we were in Memphis, Tennessee, testing our nationwide car.
We called our 18-wheelers. We had 10 of them crossing the country. We said, put them into truck stops, put them into rest areas. America's under attack. It's under attack. It's under attack.
I was in Dresden, East Germany, when we started to get word what was going on. It was pretty eerie, to be that far away from home and your loved ones and family, and have that going on.
But we watched the towers burning, what went on in the streets, the sacrifice.
It pissed you off. It made you want to go kick some ass, and it just infuriated you. And I remember it. That emotion is as clear to me today as it was then.
As for sporting events, virtually all were canceled immediately. The stadium stood empty. The racetracks fell silent.
I wanted us to race because I wanted to say, to hell with you people, we're going to live our lives,
It didn't take us too long through that process by Wednesday to understand that the best thing for America, the families that had lost loved ones that day, to be quiet that weekend.
The kart series teams were in Germany, scheduled to race in Europe for the first time. Perhaps being out of the country, having the Atlantic as a kind of buffer, led to the decision to hold the race just 4 days after 9/11.
I didn't know what the right answer was, to be honest with you. I didn't even give my opinion because I really didn't know, should we or shouldn't we?
I remember it was a very awkward day, showing up on the grid, looking at those images.
It was a mixed emotion, really. The American flags went up, but some of the sponsors didn't care to be on the car.
With 13 laps to go, the popular two-time champion Alex Zinardi pitted from the lead for a splash and go. Accelerating onto the track, he spun and was struck broadside by Alex Tagliani.
He was leading, I was second. I passed him on the front stretch while he was in pit lane. Coming into turn one and hearing on the radio, yellow, yellow, yellow. And I said, oh, I think I know what happened. Went back and actually could see what was left of Alex's car.
Talking to Alex before the race, he was one of the drivers that really didn't want to race in that sort of atmosphere.
Both of Zinardi's legs were severed, but he survived. America was hurt, but it too would survive. And when racing resumed 2 weeks after 9/11, drivers knew they had a vital role to play in getting the country back on its feet.
To stand on that starting line, it was like, wow, the gut ache we all had. And we stood there, and my drivers were looking at me, what do we do? I said, what we do is we entertain. We go put on a race, we put this aside, and we give these people in the stands a day to enjoy with their families because they've suffered enough.
The first race back was run at Dover, and the winner was the All-American Dale Earnhardt Jr., who after the finish flew the Stars and Stripes.
Although I'm proud that it was me that won it, it just felt very small in retrospect to what was going on in the world,
Man, Dover was awesome. And that feeling of unity and that feeling of country pride was, it was in your face. And there's no way to get away from it.
The disaster that befell Alex Zinardi would prove over time to be a microcosm of 9/11, the shattering violence and the irreversible loss, followed by a period of disbelief, and then the rebuilding. Alex survived thanks to exceptional medical care, which gave the racing community something to be proud of. And his recovery became a symbol of hope, well before the rest of the country was able to overcome the shock of that day of infamy, September 11th, 2001.